G'day guys, Keno here from Skid School. Now, if you want to learn how to get sideways, you need to come here and see me and my mates. Now I'll give you a little bit of a secret on how you do drifting, right? You come up to the corner and all you do is make sure you got some stockies in the rear and you lock, stomp and steer, mate. Just put your right foot down into it. Bob's your uncle. I don't know who that guy was, but you probably shouldn't go to skid school. If you want to improve in your drifting ability, then follow along in our video series coming up, and we're going to just show you a couple more things like advanced steering work, throttle control, and a couple of other things as well. So going to help you become a better driver. So the first thing that we're going to explain to you with the advanced drifting tips is the FEINT. Whiteboard, please. So what you can see here in the pink is the actual track, and then we have two different lines. The green is going to be the actual FEINT line, and the red is your traditional Scandinavian flick line, or SCANDO for all the Australians. So what we have here, when you're doing the SCANDO, when you're driving up and trying to do an entry, doing this part here, you're actually losing a lot of speed by doing that. So what you want for a corner, it's always dependent on the corner, but if we're trying to enter a corner as fast as possible with as much angle, then what you want to do is actually shorten the time that you're losing speed. So when you're coming in here with the SCANDO on the red part, you're actually putting all your weight this way first, because you need to actually throw the car this way before you throw it the other way so that you can actually get to the corner. So it's a little bit easier to be doing stuff for that, because you can wash your speed off faster as opposed to trying to wash your speed off later on in the corner where things can get a little bit more dangerous. So when you come in with the red, what you're doing is, like I said before, pushing too much weight over this way and losing speed. Then by the time you're getting to this part here where you're entering the actual corner, your speed has dropped by a lot more. So you're just doing too much washing off. So what you want to do is actually come in straight, gather as much speed as you can, and you want to actually use all that momentum to go into the actual corner and the entry. So when you come in straight, this section here is where you can actually be way quicker, because someone that's doing the SCANDO entry is already slowing down, whereas you're still on full throttle at this point. You're using the FEINT so that you can unsettle the car. And what's happening is that you're making it a lot easier because you're carrying more momentum into the actual corner, and you'll be able to get deeper as well. So it's a lot easier to actually make the corner because you're carrying a lot more momentum. Plus you're also making it easier for yourself to, if you're trying to do reverse entries or backwards entries, you're also holding the momentum, so it's easier to actually make it through rather than getting to this point, getting too much angle early on and then sort of straightening up and then having to put down a lot more power to make the apex and get through the corner. The specific technique itself, I'm going to show you how to do it. So the actual motion itself is actually quite simple. It's mainly, what we're going to be doing is obviously doing a right-hand entry. So what we need to do is actually FEINT to the left. So it's very important while you're doing all of this, when you're doing the FEINT itself, is that until you're getting to the max angle that you need to be when you're turning right, you need to be on full throttle the whole way. So you can't lift off when you do a FEINT. And yeah, you just cannot back off. You actually need to keep it. So because what you're trying to do is just keep your car going forward, and you're trying to make your trajectory go forward, okay, rather than one to the right and then one over to the left. Because the bigger you swing when you're doing a SCANDO, then the more speed that you're losing. So what we're trying to do is to carry the car as far forward as we can. So picture the straight line. So we're going to be going in the straight line first. And so as I said before, we're going to be full throttle. The other very important thing is to be very attentive to the wheel. So we can't really sort of be inactive and just let the steering wheel go and just hope that the car is going to catch itself on the front or the back. What you want to do is you need to be able to catch it and pull the steering wheel back yourself and so on. So we're going to be going straight. We're going to be doing, as I said, a right-hand entry. And when we want to FEINT left, it's simply using your power as you're going forward, and sort of, you're not really jerking the wheel, but you're just giving it a little bit more, a harder turn until the point where the car feels like it's about to slip. As soon as it slips, you need to let it slip, but you can't let it fall into big angle. You kind of just need to feel, it's all up to feeling, but you need the rear wheels to be sort of on the spin. So more wheel spin than what your road speed is at. So just spinning just a little bit, And because it's such small angle and that there's so much force just going in that left direction, and again, keep in mind that if you're doing a left-hand entry, then it's going to be opposite, right? But with a right-hand corner, all your force is going to start going towards the left, and depending how much angle you want to put into it, but left. So you just give it a little bit of a turn, and at that point, you need your right arm here needs to actually pull it back. It's not enough angle where your steering is going to do the work for you, like a lot of the time when you're doing drifting, especially because it's trying to keep its speed, because your foot is still on the throttle right now. So you need to feint, turn left, and then just turn it a little bit harder till it starts to slip out, and then pull it back with your right hand here. So when you pull it back, that part there will be the part where it actually starts spinning, because you've helped your car get the counter steer happening. Once the counter steer starts happening, that's also up to you to actually stop it from going to more angle. So when you let it go, you need to actually catch it, and it's up to you to decide where you want the car to sort of be pointing by the time you do the entry on the right, when you flick it right the other way. So hold it. Then the next part is where your car is sort of like off traction and it's slipping. You're going towards the edge of the track. That's generally when you need to turn back the other way, and then that's where you'll flick to the right to actually make the corner. And then that's, obviously there's a little bit more involved in what you want to do in that part, but that's the feint itself. All right, so once you've got the feint down, what happens next? We're gonna do another video at another point to teach you a little bit more on, very aggressive transitions and getting to big angle, but pretty much after the feint, it's up to you where you want the car to go. So if you're in the feint, after this, if you just let the steering wheel go, then again, like I said before, you can't be inactive with the steering wheel. You've got to be very active with it. If you let the steering wheel go after that point and expect the car to sort of bounce back, it's not really going to do a whole lot for you. It's just gonna, you might get it, it'll get into very small angle, but if you're trying to pop it into big angle and get into backwards or reverse entry, then it's not going to happen. You actually need to push with it. So you actually need to force the transition. So what you need to do is figure out depending on the corner or how much angle you're trying to do, is how much turn you're trying to make with your left arm. So if you only do this much turn, then you're not going to get much angle. If you do this much turn, then you maybe get 90 degrees. If you do this much turn, then maybe you'll get backwards, but it's all going to be dependent on different cars and how your car is set up. But that's pretty much your guide as to how much angle you're going to have. And again, what you're trying to do is eliminate all variables, and your throttle is completely all the way down. So, to get yourself familiar or comfortable with doing feints, it's a really good idea to, when you get out onto the track, to start doing Manjis or fishtails, whatever you want to call it. And it's just so that you can get active with the steering wheel and you kind of understand where the grip is with your front wheels. So it's very easy. You don't need to go very quick. Understand how to get active with the steering wheel. That's all you want to do. So you don't have to go with too much force. So all you're doing is just really like shifting the weight of the car left and right and making aggressive movements, just so you know that you're definitely comfortable with doing it. So now I'm going to just show you the actual line involved with both of the different entries. So we have the Scando entry, and then we have the the feint entry as well. So when you're going up for a feint, for a Scando entry, you're typically starting more towards the opposite side of the track, or the left side of the track. And what you're doing is you're going over and throwing it this way like this. So when you're doing that, as I explained before on the whiteboard, is that we're going to be, all your force is starting to go this way. So then what happens then is that you're actually losing speed. Then after that, when you go over to here, which is where you're going to turn right to get the actual entry into the corner, so then you're sending your weight over this way as well. So over this period of time, when we're coming down the straight, or before you enter the corner, you've got a very long distance of like drifting before you're actually doing your entry. And obviously in competitive drifting, what you want is to be as fast as possible. So this is why the feint sort of ends up being a little bit more useful in that regard. Obviously doing Scandinavian flicks or Scandos is fun, But if you're trying to think about how to get into the corner faster, then this is the way to do it. So this is the feint style entry. What we're going to be doing is you're typically starting middle of the track or more towards the left, but imagine that your direction is, you want to look over pretty much that way, because that's where our feint's going to go, that's where we're sending all our weight. You want your car to be sideways and having it all slide in one straight line rather than one over here, one over here. So you're going to be going this way, and the really important part is that we're not going to do any sort of right turn at all. You really want to like keep it straight, because any sort of right turn means that you're losing all your straight line speed and your force and momentum going that way. So if you go like this and then go left, you're still sending a little bit of weight that way. So you essentially want to be going straight and then just going left like this. And then that's how you start your feint, and that's the actual trajectory and line that you want to meet to make the entry. So we've got I've shown you the Scandinavian or the Scando. I've shown you how to like get warm up with the steering wheel, understand where your grip is. So now I'll just show you like a little exercise on how to get your feints happening. So what you want to do, you don't have to go full speed when you're trying to attempt your feint. You can just do small little movements just to see what it feels like. So we're just going to come down the straight like this here. That's all you need to do. So if you listen to it, see, I never like really lifted off on the throttle. It's more just, you know, getting on it, turning. So it's understanding when your car is going to catch or when it's going to slip. There's yeah, you just got to feel it out, be ready to catch the steering wheel. So that's all you're doing. So you can see that the car hasn't really gone into a full drift, and it's not really like sliding around, or it's not really in control. We're still going forward, but the wheels have started to slip. So this is the key point on making the whole entry a lot easier for yourself, because then since it's lost all its traction, or not all of its traction, but it's lost some traction, so the next part it's going to get sideways and snap into it and get into big angle very quickly. So I guess we'll just take it now and we'll give it a go, and I'll show you how it's done. So what you saw, compared to doing a Scando, which I'll do now anyway, is you see how short the actual time is on getting to the actual apex or the middle of the corner where your entry, where you're trying to get into. Like, this is the key to actually being fast at drifting. So this is what a Scando would look like. I'm not really trying to like make it more aggressive. You can definitely make it way more aggressive, but you can see just like what sort of time you're sort of spending using your force to go right. Alright guys, so that was feints. I hope that actually helped you in your drifting journey, in becoming a better driver. So as you saw when we were out there, the feint actually requires a little bit of practice, but once you get comfortable with it, it's actually not that bad. When you go out on the track next, try not to, it's not really a good idea to just go out there at full speed and try and hit it as hard as you can, because it can go very wrong. It's gone wrong for me many times in my life, but you know, it happens. What you want to do is, follow the exercises, build yourself up to it, because no one really cares that you're trying to practice something. I think it's probably a really good thing. But keep practicing, do the small little exercises, get comfortable with being active on the steering wheel, and also, warm yourself up to doing it. And then eventually you can do the full max speed and reap the benefits from it. So clearly you can see that, well, you can be a little bit of a faster driver or do a faster entry because of it. But yeah, so it's really mainly practice. So just get out there and give it a go next time. If there's something that you don't really understand in what I've explained today, then just leave something in the comments and then we'll actually answer it for you, more than happy. If you'd like this video and you want to see more in the future so you don't miss out, like, share and subscribe. But yeah, either way, we'll see you in the next one. Yeah, that's a drift car, mate.